Hi there, this is Carl Irwin, the Common Magician, and I want to try something interesting with you. First, we're going to need a special item. I'm going to need a piece of silverware. So I've got a spoon here. This is not just any spoon. This is a fine piece of silverware, and if I rub it on the table, you can tell how fine it is if you rub it against a piece of fabric like this, or tablecloth, if it will then charge and be able to float in midair. That's how you know you have the good silverware. So this is another investigation into unorthodox uses for a thumb tip. So unusual uses for the thumb tip, and this is another use. You can use a thumb tip as a holdout device. A holdout device in a couple of different ways. One, it can be used as a structural holdout, meaning that you'll use it to hold items that are much bigger than its payload. In this case, I have a regular size thumb tip. This is a regular Vernet plastic thumb tip. And what I'm doing is I have my piece of silverware, my spoon, actually wedged in the back side of the thumb tip between my thumb and the thumb tip itself. And I have my spoon held out against my arm and out of view. So I've actually got my spoon held out in what would appear to be an open hand from most points of view. I've got my fingers covering the tip a little bit. You can see the tip out front, but the hand otherwise looks quite empty. I can have it sitting back close to my body, really hiding that spoon. At some point in the presentation, I can even move my hand out like this, keeping it well covered by the arm. And it looks like there's no way I could ring in some kind of item at this point, right? My hands are empty, sitting on the table. I've got short sleeves on, yet I'm still able to just reach up and pull in a spoon. So this is the first use as a holdout. You can use any kind of a larger item as long as it has an end that can fit into the side of the thumb tip. You could try to hold out maybe from the front side. I don't know how well that works. Depends on your angles, but you can see I've got it. I do have it held out here, and my hand is fairly free and open. I probably wouldn't ring it in the same way. I might be able to, I don't know, maybe I could do that. I'm inventing here on the moment. I could have an open hand, free hand, and then I could maybe make it appear in this way. I don't know. That kind of looks like I'm holding it in my thumb. If I cover up the thumb tip, I don't know. You can play around with it. But that's a holdout device. Holdout device. Unorthodox use for a thumb tip we don't really think about. The second way that it can be used as a holdout is in this manner, and that is as a magnetic device. This is actually a magnetic thumb tip. There's a magnet inside the thumb tip. And this is a Vernet magnetic thumb tip. I actually purchased this one with the magnet inside. You can do this with your own thumb tip if you want to use any type. Get a rare earth magnet. What is it? Neodymium, I think is the way you call it. Very powerful magnets. You can glue them in there. Use some hot glue or some kind of silicone or something and get it to stick inside there, right in the tip of the pad of the thumb tip. And then you have that, and it's magnetic. It's able to hold on to things that are magnetic. So as with all magnetic sorts of levitations, you want to obviously kind of hide the holdout device right behind the head. And you don't want it to swing and sway. You want it to sit level. And you want to do it short, very, very quick, kind of strange visual. They see it or they don't see it, but there it is, and then you're done with it. And it's great because you're free and clear. It's a thumb tip. There's nothing there. Your hands are empty, right? There's nothing there to find. You're free and clear. You can ditch it at any moment. Another way that the magnetic thumb tip can be used as a holdout device is kind of with this sort of miser's dream sort of concept. If I have a coin, this is actually a magnetic coin. It's a split coin, so it's already magnetic, and I have it sitting against that thumb. I can hold it quite freely out at the tips of my fingers. I can appear to drop it into the hand and then make it vanish, and I can bring it right back to the tips of my fingers because it is held out. I'm using it as a magnetic holdout. If I have a jar of coins, if I make a few coins appear using some other means and I put them into this jar, just get a couple coins in there, I'm off to the races doing a miser's dream routine where I can catch a coin in midair, drop it in, catch a coin in midair, drop it in, catch a coin, drop it in. I can go on and on like this. Good for parlor stage kind of a situation, but just using the magnetic properties as a holdout. The nice thing about doing this is because it's magnetic, I can separate the coin from the hand, right? There are other holdouts that are much like this where the coin is affixed permanently to the holdout device and used in that way. In this case, because it's a magnetic coin, I can separate it from the hand and then use it in that way. We're going to look at the magnetic thumb tip a lot more in the future on some other installments of this little series, because the telekinetic sort of potential for this device is unlimited. It really is. There's a lot of telekinesis, psychokinesis kinds of things that you can do with the magnetic properties of a magnetic thumb tip. And in some ways, it can be superior than using, say, the PK ring or some other kind of silent assistant sort of device, because it's ditchable, right? You can get rid of it. It's not always out in the open. So those are some ideas. I did want to touch on one more idea very quickly before we're done. On the last video, we looked at this idea of using a thumb tip as a sort of suspension device with a card. I wanted to point out that you can use a regular sized thumb tip for this. You want to make sure, though, that you are using using this on a surface that has like a fabric or a tablecloth or a mat, so that you don't have cards sliding. Can you do it on a hard surface? You can, but there's a little bit of risk there. And the one thing I would say about using it in this way, because a full-size thumb tip is larger, you probably would do this more like a you do as I do. Here's 2 cards for you. Here, set them up like this. Good, now try that, right? And you can show it like this and then go right away to picking it up and then moving on. Ditch the thumb tip. I wouldn't do a lot of phases with this. It's kind of a one and done sort of presentation because it's such a large structural device in that kind of setting. So the reason why I bring this up is that as we stack up these uses for the thumb tip, you may find yourself wanting to carry it more often, and you're only going to want to do that if you can use a more regular thumb tip for a wider range of items. If I show you that you have to have a special thumb tip for this and a special one for that and a special one for that and a special one for that, that kind of defeats the purpose. So I did want to present that. Regular size thumb tip, you can use it for this kind of a presentation. You can even have a magnetic thumb tip and use it that way and do billet work or bill work with that kind of a thumb tip. So good luck with that. Happy match game.